Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Grassroots to Gains, a Southern Hustle. Now, today's conversation is one I think a lot of us are going to find quite fascinating and interesting because it involves your and my favorite topic, ice cream. Now, ice cream in its earliest forms can be traced back to ancient Persia, where locals, using a combination of ice and snow, mixed in together fruit juices and honey to create a tasty treat which was available to the elites of the day. The knowledge spread to ancient China, where they created their own versions of frozen desserts, and it is rumored that the famous explorer Marco Polo took some of that knowledge and introduced it to Europe in the late 13th century. During the Renaissance period, Italian chefs and artisans essentially created what is now known as gelato. If we go forward to the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, it is due to the invention of mechanical refrigeration and hand-cranked ice cream churns, where mass production of ice cream essentially led to it to becoming widely available to the general public. Jump to our modern era, and the development and advancements of commercial freezers and refrigeration technology have essentially revolutionized the ice cream industry, where brands like Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs have become an everyday name on people's lips. This brings me to our own founders behind the inspiration of Scoops N Giggles, a local brand where the founders have essentially started producing ice cream in their kitchen, took that knowledge, applied it, and they've essentially introduced the locals to a variety, comparing it to brands that can be found in Italy, for example, where it is rumored that some of the best made ice cream can be found today. Our founders have had inspiration and they've had challenges in introducing their product, and it is going to be within this interview where they're going to tell us a bit more about their journey and how they were able to overcome some of the obstacles and challenges that they found in their way. Some of the lessons that they've learned, they're going to share with us, and hopefully they will be practical enough for us to take inspiration from and apply it to our own interests and our own business ideas, and hopefully learn from our founders as they explain and go into more detail behind the inspiration Scoops N Giggles. It is my pleasure to speak to Lee and Zandile. This is Grassroots to Gains, a Southern Hustle. Let's get into it. Right, good morning everyone. My name is Chris Twala. I'm here with Zandile and Lee, the founders behind Scoops N Giggles, homemade ice creams based in Eswatini. Lee, Zandile, thank you for joining me. Hope you're having a good day so far.
Thank you. Yes,
thank you. Good morning, Chris. How are you doing?
Not too bad. It's quite a sunny day, as you know. I've also been sharing a bit of sunshine this side. Not as much as you have down in Swaziland, so yeah. The first question I need to ask, if you don't mind, the name Scoops N Giggles. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd never heard of your brand until I was Googling online the other day and I came across your name, and I just have to say it is quite a unique, inspiring, happy, smiley type of name. I mean, what is the story behind that? That's great. I just have to say that.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, so it makes us so happy that you read the name and you thought it's such a happy name, because that's essentially what it is. So when we started making the ice cream, Lee, my friend, we were actually living together.
Okay.
And when I made the ice cream, and she would be so happy, you know how, pregnancy hormone, she'd be so happy. And then my daughter is like, yeah, mommy, you scoop, and she giggles. So that's how she said, yeah, that actually rhymes. You must name your business Scoops N Giggles. And we just went with it. Yeah. So our 13-year-old actually came up with the name.
So she's your 13-year-old's inspiration behind the name, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it takes a child, I imagine, to obviously invoke such emotion. So that was actually quite lovely and quite, on the mark, actually. That's quite brilliant, actually.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
No, great. By all means, please keep it up. I mean, like I said, I was really taken by the name, and it just sort of reflects, I think, obviously, the nature of your business. The fact is you're dealing with a product that is inspiring, designed to make people happy. That being said, my first basic main question is, like, obviously, I was hoping you could share a little bit about yourselves. You've alluded to the fact that you were both living together. You sort of started this at home. I'm wondering if you could just basically give us a rough idea of what inspired you to start making ice creams. Was this something you had always dreamed of doing? Or was there like a particular moment when you both sort of had the idea, you know what, we can actually take this further, as I hope you could allude to that?
So for me, my background is in marketing management, and I specialized in branding and digital marketing. And I then moved to Eswatini in 2018, and I then met Zandile, and we instantly hit it off. And I remember in our early days, Zandile was very much, by the way, we're both housewives. And Zandile was very much interested in the business space, and I was still trying to look for a job. So it was very hard to find a job in Eswatini. She started a lingerie business, and I was there taking the pictures, and she also had an events company, so you can almost tell that Zandi's very much business-minded. And I think the biggest inspiration came from that, to say, okay, finding employment can be a bit of a tough journey in the country, and business seems to be the one place where you can almost make at least $50 a day, you know? And so COVID hit, and a lot of businesses took a toll then. And fast forward to when we then moved in together, that's when the business then started with the ice cream, as she had explained. I think the dream was always to be businesswomen, entrepreneurs. We weren't necessarily sure in which industry and which products. So having had tried all of them, we almost took the one that was the most viral.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's good initiative.
And we just went with that, and we almost riding the wave with this product. It made a lot of sense also because I'm a farmer's child. So we had a lot of leftover fruit from home, so it made it easy for us to then get the fruit and just start and we'll try out recipes, and it wasn't too expensive to start. And when we started, it just became laughed by a lot of people, and everyone was like, "You're sitting on good business. You must sell this to us." So we decided to just start.
No, that's brilliant. I'm wondering your initial, I'm not going to say test subjects because that sounds quite experimental, but your initial sort of customers. You mentioned obviously you had products, you had access to produce, which we'll delve into that a bit later. But I'm just curious, was your immediate family like the first people to try your product? Was that something you made at home and said, right, Lee, try this. Daughter, try this. Mom, Dad, try this.
So because we're living together, she was basically the test. The key she tried all the flavors. Initially we had how many flavors? 7 flavors, including cinnamon and Napolitana. So those didn't really make it through because people didn't like it. We also had peach ice cream, and nobody really asked for it. So we had it was trial and error. But I think we got the basics right because everyone wanted the ice cream, and the way it was so creamy, it has improved from that even now. So people were comparing us to Woolworths even, and they were saying Woolworths is nothing on you.
Wow, and this is all basically made from at home. This is all homemade sort of ice cream brands, which people are comparing to a supermarket chain, and yours is being voted the best. Wow, that's brilliant.
But family and friends were our initial test subjects. And I think the most critical test subjects were people who did not know us, because our family and friends can tend to be a bit biased. So those that did not know us were our most important customers, and we kind of took that feedback feedback very seriously to go and change or improve whatever we needed to.
Yeah, and we also took out samples.
Yeah.
We took out samples, free samples to people, just for them to try and critique wherever. So that also helped us improve a lot.
Yeah.
That's quite a great initiative, actually. You're obviously in a competitive market with regards to, your particular type of product. The market in Eswatini. Now, I'm hoping you can give us a brief sort of description, obviously, as to what the market was like before, you started up your business, before you were successful with the giving out of free samples, getting feedback, and obviously pushing your product forward. Was this a gap you had somehow spotted, or would you say that at the time before starting there were other shops or other sort of businesses similar to yours, or was it just the supermarkets that pretty much had the monopoly mostly with ice cream distribution there?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So with the type of industry we're in, every supermarket sells ice cream.
Yes, of course.
And these are brands that have been established centuries ago.
Yeah.
And we kind of had to come in with a different offering, a different strategy. Also, not in a bad way. A lot of the supermarket ice cream is made like mass produced.
Yes.
So there are a lot of preservatives. There are a lot of things mass produced. It's not always good quality, but ice cream is ice cream at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So our strategy was to come in from a different angle to say, no, we're looking for something that would appease a health-conscious customer for both an adult and a kid, We were going the more organic route. And with the organic route that we were going into, shelf life, of course, is a bit shorter because we don't use any preservatives in our products.
If you don't mind me asking, was that a conscious decision to obviously have a perishable product that will not last as long? Would it not make sense, obviously, to preserve it, to have it sort of lasting a lot longer? I'm just curious, is that something you've both consciously decided to do?
It is.
Yeah, the conscious decision was for us to focus on having something that's more organic and healthy.
Right, okay, so that was the main focus. Okay.
That meant we can't use preservatives, so we had to just accept it's perishable.
Yeah.
It's that much more perishable.
Yeah. But not to say, I think obviously when we're starting out, you don't have the big funds to try and get your product to have the preservatives to be exported and to stay in the shelves for a long time. We only had access to small funds to get us to a certain place, and we'll grow and scale from there. So yes, it was a conscious decision. Not to say we might not change in the future. Okay, we'll see where the market goes. Right. But the market, in terms of homemade ice cream, at the time, we were not aware of any, but as the months went by, we realized, there is one or two players in the industry. But we were so confident in ourselves that, we're not going to look at competition in the sense of trying to beat them, because we were our own competition.
Of course.
When we look for competition, we look for brands that are outside of the border, because that's where we want to get to. Yeah. Our goal is to go beyond borders. And so we were, I think after a couple of months, we were aware of the one or two players, but we said, no, let's focus on the goal. We're not trying to compete with anyone to kind of take them off. I think we're just focusing on our brand and on our journey, and just build from there.
No, well, it sounds like it's quite successful. I mean, it sounds like you've had a bit of an impact in the country, gone from obviously being in little markets to obviously being established. It alludes me to my next question, obviously this type of business. Now, in Eswatini, you mentioned just now that there was other players in the game, but, they might not necessarily have been as well known as you, or just as well known in general. Would you say that this type of business was needed in the country? I'm just curious if whether or not the Swazi palate has an appetite for this type of product, or would you say that this is basically kicked off more because of, shall we label it, the influencing sort of generation, access to smartphones, taking pictures, getting people to encourage them to try different products? I'm just wondering why you think nobody else had capitalized on promoting this product as much as you guys have successfully done now.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Looking at the way we market ourselves, because we showcase our customers eating, enjoying the ice cream, which really makes anyone watching want to try it out. And we have unique flavors that you can't really get from the supermarkets, the ones that from the brands that we all know and buy from the supermarkets. But also, it's not a very easy business to start.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of dedication, time, and refrigeration is not cheap.
Yes.
So I think that is one of the things that would make other smaller businesses not pursue this type of business.
It's a risk.
Yeah, it has a lot of risk. And with the power outages also, if you don't have power for 2 hours, you've already made a loss. Because the ice cream will melt. And we've actually had to cancel a couple of markets because so it's one of those things.
What she's saying is spot on also. I think something like this, I mean, anyone, it's not to say there aren't small businesses that have an ice cream machine and do the, what is this, the soft serve?
The soft serve,
the soft serve.
And I think the economy in this country is a bit tricky. Yes. It has been for quite some time. And it's a bit of a risk to start any kind of business. And I think with something like cold treats, you need, because I mean, ingredients are there on YouTube. They're everywhere, you know. But it's how you do it. I would say that I call Zandi's hands a magical hands. It's about how you do it, the love you put into it, the dedication, the secret ingredients that we would add, to make it different. Now, I think once other people see, Scoops N Giggles is doing well, maybe we should try the ice cream business, you know. Anyone can do ice cream, but we had to establish our brand first, because you can take the ice cream business into any direction, but we wanted to elevate the brand and make sure that even though you have ice cream, you can never be a Scoops N Giggles. Whether your ice cream is better or not, you will never be a Scoops N Giggles, you know. So the market is hectic to start any business, but I think people, especially business people, need to take their brand seriously, just like you're saying with the influencer age.
Yes.
Influencers are being given any product and they just put their names on it and it just flourishes because they're already a brand.
Yeah.
So we are trying our best to make sure the brand is top notch so that the thing can also speak for itself.
Well, you seem to be doing quite a successful job, to be honest. You know, I mean, you alluded to obviously how tough it is to have a market, any market, obviously, within the country. I think it speaks wonders for, you know, your own expertise with regards to the marketing management to promote the brand and just to push it forward. And you're right. You know, growing up in the country, I believe there was a lot of small ventures and small places you could get like soft serve. But I suppose it's more your unique sort of introduction of introducing particular flavors that might have just captured people's imaginations. No, respect and well done to that. No, that's great to hear. So initially, our main focus for today is to discuss your ice cream sort of venture. But I do think we need to let our audience members know how hard you two have worked, because you've got two other small sort of businesses on the side. You know, the idea of producing crispy potatoes, the cheese girl. I mean, I'm wondering, how are you able to balance, you know, your work-life schedules with regards to having three different sort of businesses and ventures going at once? Do you prioritize one over the other? Or do you just in general sort of distribute tasks amongst yourselves and your team as to who's going to do what and who's going to do who?
So we it's a very loaded question.
Sorry, forgive me.
We really tried our best to put everything in one, and our strategy for that was, we'll be honest, we at one of our markets we were approached by a gentleman who saw the all three businesses and was interested and saw the passion and the drive, and he then said there's a space that he has and we should come and see if we can put our products there.
Great.
And that's when we opened a cafe. That's called Frost Tea and Fromage.
I love it, Frost Tea and Fromage,
So we had a cafe, it's called Frost Tea and Fromage, play on words, because we frost of the ice cream. We were going to have some tea as the cafe and the fromage with the cheese. And we then expanded our menu, and we had what we're already offering. So for dessert, we had the Scoops N Giggles, and our meals had a couple of healthy meals, your salads, your pastas, and the fries and the wings. And for starters, we thought we'd incorporate the cheese boards, the cheese platters. And unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we kind of had to put the Frosty fromage concept on hold. Okay. That's how we try to balance everything, basically, to say, okay, to put these three brands in one, let's open one big headquarters, basically. Now the goal is to become, I wouldn't say restaurateurs, but along the line of food, along that line. Food industry is what we enjoy, and we'd like to actually have these brands be household names, right? So juggling, we're not juggling, we're just resilient.
Resilient, respect. Yes.
We would just how we would plug into the markets is when we're approached by someone, then we would then let them know that this is what we offer. We have this, and this, and this. Okay. We take a corner and we just dominate. We take a corner and we come with all the three businesses, with the ice cream, with the cheese girl, and we set up tables for our customers to have basically a full meal, from the chips to the wings, and then desserts. Yeah, and everybody will be happy.
Well, listen, like I said, you've cornered a particular market that I think a lot of people find enjoyable. I'm based in the UK, and obviously one of the concepts has taken off quite well, and I think you've sort of, you've cornered it as well, is the idea of street food. Small sort of like bite sizes, lots of flavor, and it's appealing to a lot of people, and I think obviously people are responding and resonating quite well with that. So we've alluded to obviously your basic sort of setup, your inspiration behind obviously the business. Now I'm hoping we can go a bit deeper with regards to talking about more the technicalities about your business, if you don't mind. So
no problem.
We have discussed the idea that you consciously decided to produce an ice cream brand which is more organic in taste, more organic in the type of setup and the type of promotion you're trying to have of the product. But it is a perishable product, so obviously it doesn't have a long shelf life. Now, are you able to allude to us how exactly were you able to ensure proper health and safety measures, when you were initially starting out? Was there any sort of learning curves or challenges you had with meeting any of these standards? And if you can just let our audience know if there are prescribed guidelines, who within the country is responsible for setting up those guidelines and you following them?
Yeah, so the standards, we have a standard authority board called Swazi in the country that they're responsible for overlooking all the standards in the country, in the food. Okay. And for us specifically, because we're dealing with dairy, we also have a Swatini dairy board. They give lessons and whatnot on your HACCP and all those type of standards. Okay. So because we're making the ice cream from home, it meant that essentially we'd have to close our kitchen for a couple of days a week, and it would become a factory for making the ice cream. To just really try and avoid cross-contamination of any sort.
When you closed the kitchen up due to obviously cross-contamination, did you have... Yeah. Was there like any sort of inspectors that would come to your house and just verify that what you're doing is up to spec, or was that just something you did, on your own initiative to ensure the quality of your product?
Okay, so a bit of context.
Yes, please.
Our product was at Pick n Pay, one of the biggest supermarkets in the country, and eventually SADC. We then were approached by the board at Pick n Pay to say they would need to come and inspect our plants to ensure that we are basically
upholding the standards.
And the criteria is met. So our product was then removed from the shelves because we didn't have a certificate to say that we have been graded and audited and inspected. And so fortunately enough, we were approached by a parastatal that deals a government tries and helps SMEs with certification in the food producing sector. This is called the Ingelo. This is what they introduced. Yeah, Ingelo.
Okay.
Because basically for SWASA to come to you to inspect and audit and get the certifications is nothing less than 50,000 emalangeni.
Wow.
200,000.
Yes.
So excuse me, it's 200,000.
200,000 just for the certification from them. Wow.
Yeah, yes. I don't know in your currency how you would basically calculate that. Couple of thousands of euros, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pounds. Dollars, I don't know.
No, we were dealing with pounds, but yeah, I'll have to do the maths. But on average, I'll probably say, plus minus, it might be about 10 to 15,000 pounds. That's ridiculous. That's quite, especially for just an SME that's just starting out. Wow.
Yes. So I think the Ingelo then came in at the right time and is trying to bridge that gap between SMEs and us putting our product on the shelves to afford the standards and have our products in retail.
Right,
Because a lot of these retails, if you want your product there, they ask you, do you have a SWAS certification? And would say no. So we then did the course with Ingelo, and part of where we had the cafe was when we had a proper kitchen where we had plants, basically, a commercial kitchen. The standards were met, and we could then produce our ice cream from there because we were compliant.
And dairy board inspectors also came to inspect from time to time.
Yes. So we were then basically just waiting for our certification to say, here it is. You guys can now approach retail to put your ice cream on the shelves.
Oh, that's great.
I won't do the government a disservice by not saying they didn't help. They are trying to really meet SMEs halfway in terms of certifications and programs and standards to ensure that we also benefit from the economy on a larger scale, from only not just selling on the side of the road or just at market, but we can also compete on a bigger scale and be in retail. So that was our challenge. We kind of crossed the bridge, and we're resilient about it. So now we're just on our way to getting more stock, getting more packaging, so that we can actually meet the demands of retail and be able to stay in retail.
Right. The idea of the certification. Now, I understand you both had each other to sort of boost and encourage yourselves to keep going, attend these lessons, attend these courses, and essentially come up with a plan. Are you able to briefly give us a rough idea of how long it takes for certification to get processed? Is it one of those things that people can just go to any government sort of like office and sort of say, look, I've got this idea, I've got this product, I want to get onto the market? Are you able to give us a rough idea of how long a process like that takes to go from you presenting your idea to them coming to inspecting and issuing the certificates?
Okay, so a lot of things here work with money. If you want to go and approach the standard departments, you must have the money, and we didn't have the money. I'm not going to speak for other industries and other business owners, but for us, we were approached by a Pick and Pay reseller, and she just said, come and put your product in. A food buyer, and put your product in and install. And then later they realized, no, we actually have to meet standards. The process of which from which we started trying to acquire these certifications, up to a point where we did the course. The course was about, I think it was a 7-day course. Yeah, It was a 7-day course, and we then, because in the post the course, they have to come and see if what they taught us, and if we're implementing it exactly. Yes. So we get a food scientist to come in and check if our ingredients are perfect for labeling. If our kitchen meets the criteria and the standards for us to actually make the product. And for the ice cream, Dairy Board needs to come and see if we're using the ice cream in best practice, best way we can. And then municipality will come and check if basically everything is on par. Yes, exactly. That can take up maybe between
6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. it can take some time depending on how quick us as business owners are pushing for it to be done, versus how much time they give us to say, okay, today we're ready to come to you. Some of the municipal people will just show up by surprise.
Oh, right, okay. Without any prior warning, just like we're coming over. Wow.
Yes. Obviously, to make sure that they catch us doing the correct thing.
I suppose, surprise inspections, Yeah,
so there are some surprise inspections, but with the Ingelo, you have to set up a meeting and you call them when you're ready to say, okay, my kitchen is ready, my product is ready, the food scientist is checked, all the ingredients in the product match the ones on the label, and so it can take about 6 months to a year, but it's worth the wait.
Right.
It's worth the wait. Yeah.
So I suppose it depends on how much you're pushing, obviously, how much you're trying to contact these ministers or even municipalities and say, listen, what's going on with the application process? Now, I imagine that can be quite tricky. Let's move forward from that. Now, it's a perishable product. You discussed earlier about the idea of refrigeration and cold storage. Would you say that this was quite a significant challenge that you had logistically with regards to your business? You mentioned that obviously you had to get your own sort of like factory, your own kitchen set up. Did you have your products stored on site? Was it a challenge to have refrigeration units put in the country? I was hoping you could give us a rough idea about that idea of the refrigeration, the cold storage, how much of that is a mission to obviously get up and running within the country itself.
So that is one of the biggest pain in the behind that we have when it comes to cold storage, because we currently have like 5 freezers, all small, but when we go to the markets, we take display freezer, and we find it struggles outside because it was essentially manufactured for being used indoors. So that's a big challenge.
We do have a local refrigerator manufacturer. So it obviously, again, funding. If you want the big boy, the big freezers, you need to have the funds for it. And we did purchase our freezers from the local refrigeration manufacturer. And yes, we do have our product on site all the time. And we also, when we go out to markets, we make the product in big containers, and we basically do a scooping service. So the customer would come, and then they would ask for a flavor and would scoop, and would charge per scoop. And then there are those that make orders, and we pre-pack the product for them, and we deliver the packages to them. We also do events where any client can basically hire us for a wedding, a birthday party, and so on. And then they say we want 4 flavors, and would come in as the service and would scoop for the customers at your event. Or they can order in big batches, and we deliver the big batches to them. I think recently we had a big order for a wedding in Hlangano, and we're based in a 2-hour drive.
Sorry, forgive me. You just broke up for a second. You said you're based in Baban. Is that right?
Yes.
We're based in Baban. Yes. So we basically had to transport a big batch of ice cream to Hlangano, which is 2 hours away. We don't have a cold truck. So we basically had to get cooler boxes and ice cubes and pack that stuff in there, drive as fast as we can, but to our advantage, we delivered a day before the event so that the client could refreeze. Of course, we could get a cold truck to take our product, but that's another fund that we were not prepared for at the time. And these cold storage logistic businesses take big batches, and we're still a small baby in the industry. So they don't take big units.
I'm just really impressed with your initiative, actually. I was listening to you explaining about putting it all in cooler boxes. I was just thinking, that's a proper hustler move, that. I love that. That's great.
We had to think
Yeah, we had to think fast, and we luckily the bride was flexible enough to allow us to deliver a day before the wedding. And our ice cream doesn't really crystallize when it's refrozen, so that is also another advantage that we have, that we can deliver like a day before, so that the ice cream will have enough time to set for the time when the guests arrive and need to eat it.
No, like I said, good initiative, good ingenuity. I mean, obviously, it's quite tricky, I understand, dealing with funding with regards to trying to purchase a particular type of cold storage device unit, like a truck or a particular type of fridge. It sort of takes me on to my next question, the idea of like financial hurdles. Now, look, you've mentioned that you're a small business, you're up and growing, you're trying to get funds from wherever you can. Are you able to give our audience a rough feeling about how difficult and challenging is it to sort of source things like social financing? Did you use things like crowdfunding, loans or grants from the governments or other bodies? Or would you say that, a lot of your support for the business came from your friends, family, community? Are you able to give us a bit of a feel for the hurdles you face with finances?
Well, so far we haven't tried any of the social funding grants or anything like that. We were just using money from our allowances that our husbands were giving us.
Wow,
but
good support from the family. That sounds.
Yes, thank God. We're so grateful. But we're really looking into it now, because obviously the demand has grown, and it's about time. We need it now, because we are now attending big festivals like Bushfire, and we're looking to attending markets outside of the country. So it's something that we already need, like now.
Yes, we do. Yeah, at the beginning we really tried not to go the formal loan route, because we're not sure the repayment system. But
sorry, forgive me before you carry on. You said you weren't sure about the repayment system, or you just didn't want to put yourselves in that particular type of debt situation?
Yes, we did not, especially early on. Yeah, especially early on. We would rather grow the brand organically, and what maybe it needs to be evaluated. Institutions will look at it and say, oh, you're capable of actually handling this big loan, and maybe then we can request a bigger loan for bigger things, bigger products and equipment and so on. So no, and this country is not very big on crowdfunding unless it's for charity. But we are looking into. I mean, it's not saying it doesn't limit us, because we can still apply for crowdfunding and maybe get international funding. But we are still bootstrapping for now, and we are trying our best to grow organically, financially, until we then have to bind ourselves to a repayment system.
Sorry, you made an interesting point just now about the idea that the country is not big on crowdfunding. Do you mind me asking, is that because of the type of... I'm struggling to think about how to phrase this. Is this because it's not something that's well known within the country? Is it a new concept? Or is this just something that's just not traditionally done within the country with regards to sourcing finances?
I think so. I think
it's a new concept.
It's a new concept, firstly. You're correct. It's a new concept. Secondly, we are still really working our way around online payment systems.
Oh, right. Because I know there's MTN Pay that's within the country as well. Is that right?
Yes. That's your more quick. But in terms of e-commerce, like buying online and so on.
All right.
It's only generation that's really trying now, and banks are just recently catching on where their bank cards can actually do online payments.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Yes. So it's steadily growing, but not at a quick enough pace. So if we start a crowdfunding for the country, we'll basically look at the page and say, so we're just supposed to give $100. For what? So it's still like there's a lot of skepticism around just giving money for no reason, just because you want a loan.
Right.
Yeah, but it is getting there. It's better to just either go to a loan institution.
Apply for a grant.
Or apply for a grant, or ask family, friends,
Yes.
if you're lucky enough to get an angel investor to assist. But honestly, crowdfunding it's not a common concept.
Thing yet.
Unless maybe there's someone who's sick and they want to give them money because they want to go for surgery. Maybe,
yeah.
But not so much for businesses. I don't think. I'm sure it will get there soon, though.
Or maybe we're not exposed to that type of funding.
Yeah.
Or a community that does participate in crowdfunding.
To be honest, I think we also need to we need to be fair to the locals as well. It's the idea of with regards to the concept of crowdfunding, I suppose, is something that needs to get more traction in the country. But two, not that many people have the necessary finances just to say, look, I'll give you 1,000 rand just on a whim, to be fair to them. But I suppose that can be quite one of the big challenges as well. But no, thanks for telling me that. That was a lot of information even I wasn't aware of. I'm really happy to see that you've discussed that. Look, let's go away from the idea of finances, the negatives. I'd like to let's promote more your positivity. Now, look, I've alluded to how I absolutely love the name of your brand, Scoops N Giggles. Makes me smile every single time I say it. Now, that being said, where do you get the inspiration for your new flavors? I was just thinking when I was initially trying to figure out the questions to ask you, I was like, how exactly do they go about deciding the flavors? Do you just look at random objects and say, ooh, I wonder what this and this would mix together would taste like? And another sort of important thing, do the flavors that you produce, would you say you just make them organically, or are you getting inspiration from sort of local or cultural influences within the region as well?
It's a little bit of everything. Okay. So we have a new flavor, pistachio.
Pistachio.
That one was it was inspired by people asking, you don't have anything with nuts in it, and we just, you know what? Let's look for something, our favorite nut. So that's how we decided. Okay, we're gonna make pistachio. Plus, we don't have any color that's green in our flavors. So then we came up with that one with our lavender.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, we have a lavender cherry flavor. Okay. So we were attending a flavor festival. Here it's a food festival here in Eswatini. Okay. And so they give out the sponsors for the festival that give out their products. So you have to, the way you enter the competition is that you have to use one of the sponsors' ingredients to make food.
Wow, that's ingenious. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, it is. So we thought, okay, so there's a slow Joe that was part of the sponsors, and they were giving out their syrups. Okay. And among the syrups was a lavender syrup. So we thought, oh my goodness, we've watched that movie where they were making lavender honey ice cream, and that's the only time we saw a lavender ice cream. Oh, wow. So we're like, we could just make a lavender ice cream because it'll be cute. It's gonna be purple. So we came up with the lavender ice cream, and we actually won first place. We won the award first place.
Congrats! Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. We kept it in our bag. But we do really sit and think about our flavors. We also have Makanu butterscotch.
Yeah, Makanu butterscotch.
Makanu butterscotch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So Makanu is a marula fruit. It's a fruit that we use a lot traditionally to make our alcohol in the country.
Great.
So at Luju Festival, so the theme was going back to your roots, but futuristically, and we thought, you know what, we must come up with something that will, like a flavor that will really go with our theme of going back to the roots, to our roots, but futuristically. So we came up with the Makanu butterscotch. And it was a hit, obviously, so we put it in our bag also, and we carry it now. So it's one of our flavors. Yeah. So we draw inspirations from everywhere, really.
I was going to say, it's interesting that you mentioned the idea of like pistachio as one of like your popular flavors and sort of recommended ice creams. I suppose obviously here in the UK, one of the big things that we're dealing with, it's nut allergies. So, you know, there are certain products that not necessarily are being encouraged as much due to obviously health and risk standards here. But no, I'm happy to see, because pistachio is one of my personal favorites. So I'm happy to see that that's gaining popularity there. That's great. Yeah, I loved Magunu butterscotch. Oh, my goodness, that's ingenious. That's great. Yeah. I was wondering if we could focus a bit now on the idea of like, you know, sustainability. We touched on earlier about how you prioritize the sourcing of your ingredients mostly locally. Are you able to allude and give us a rough idea of who you sort of deal with? Do you deal with like small farmers? Do you deal with local companies to get your ingredients? When it comes to obviously your market stands, I was watching one of your videos where you were talking about how unfortunately you had to leave the country to go and get a particular sort of like, I think it's a particular structure set up. Are you able to allude to us exactly to why you don't necessarily, not necessarily why you don't use them, but why it's a bit more of a challenge to use local ingredients, local craftsmen to sort of help build your products? And if you can give us a rough idea of all that, please.
Okay, so we work a lot with farmers like Makotomane Farm. Okay. They are organic farmers. We get our strawberries from them, the best strawberries. And we also work with Ikuba farmers that are part of the Ikuba permaculture. It's called, yes, permaculture farmers. Right. So that
Ikuba,
is
sorry, is this like a little cooperative where they get like loads of farmers together to sort of promote their products?
Yes, yes, they're very well known in the country, and they work with a lot of other producers in the country. Okay. So for things like the blueberries, it's difficult for us to get from farmers because I think they don't really do well in the country. Okay. So we get from the supermarkets. Actually, everything in all the ingredients, we get them locally. Okay. Local. If it's not from the farmers directly, we get from the local supermarkets.
Also, just to add on to that, with our sustainability, we also try to pack our products in recyclable packaging. We hold recycling and sustainable living and sustainable eating, everything. We hold that dear to our hearts, and that's probably what also gives us our uniqueness in our product. Is that we take that seriously and we almost like want to be activists, in not just making the ice cream, but also eating it. Yeah.
Which is what we don't really sell the ice popsicles too much now. Okay. Because we can't find packaging that's not plastic. Because, the ice popsicle, the ice lolly, so the wooden part is wood. Yes. But then you have to pack it in a plastic bag. And we realize that we sell a lot of them, and that means like we're now contributing a lot. So we decided to just put it on hold until we can find like a solution on that, because it can build up very quickly.
Well, I love that, the fact that you're consciously aware of that contribution to the pollution and the plastic into the environment. Wow. You mentioned, obviously, you've stopped specifically, packaging your products in a specific way. Do you partner with any sort of local recycling plants, or do you make customers aware of like what they can do with their packaging? I know obviously you try and use recycled packaging, but like the sort of end life sort of result of the customers eating the ice cream, is this something you've told them and said, listen guys, once you finish this is where you can go and leave it? Are they aware of all these recycling processes and things in the country?
Okay, so firstly, when people purchase our products and they take them home, we really hope that when they dispose of their products, they should do it correctly. Okay. A lot of the events that we've attended, for example, the farmers market, they very much also are about the sustainability living. So every product that you used at the farmers markets is disposed of correctly. They even have different bins for different types of materials that need to be disposed of. And we attended Bushfire also and Luju, and they also very much hold their sustainability ethic very high. So they also do that correctly. We also have a recycling disposal area just near our home, where we do dispose our packaging there, and we leave a lot of the stuff that we've used, the cream packaging and so on. We dispose of it correctly there. Yes, and
we also carry our own bin to the markets for people who can't get to the main dustbin. So we bring it home and we sort it accordingly.
Yes. And we dispose of it like that. I think the country is really trying its best to get onto the bandwagon of correct recycling methods. It's a slow process, but I think it's slowly getting there. We do look into our strategies into incentivizing people who recycle our products correctly. We're just finding ways in which we can plug in properly for marketing purposes, but also just to encourage them to also contribute towards making sure the earth is kept properly for future generations.
No, to be honest. I'm listening and I'm just like, I'm getting inspired just listening to the promotion and awareness you're trying to generate. That's great. I don't imagine it's easy, especially you've mentioned obviously the idea that they're trying to, especially within the country, they're trying to promote the idea of recycling and, sustainability, I suppose, is just becoming the word, should we say, that's being pushed around in certain circles. But I imagine it's still quite a bit of a challenge. No, I'm happy to see you're navigating that in an interesting way, actually. It just alludes to your creativity and, just the awareness and the conscious decisions you've both made with regards to this product. Now, taking your creativity, how have you applied that to your marketing strategies? Is there a particular way you've gone about trying to get the attention of your customers, especially to try and make yourselves a well-known, well-liked brand, especially within a competitive market, which is the food industry?
So I have a background in creative multimedia. That has come in handy when it comes to marketing, because obviously we draw from these background of marketing, and we put together. So we do engage our customers. We try to make it fun, and we do ask for their permission if we can take like short snippets of them either enjoying the ice cream or casually just like conversing with us at the markets, and then we put that together and we edit and we post it for people to hopefully want to be part of our family, because that's how we would want to position ourselves in the market, because we want to be a lifestyle brand that you can take Scoops and Giggles anywhere. You're going camping, you can invite us to camp, or you're having a private party, we can also be part of that party. And it has really worked, because there was a time where we were going very viral, so to speak, on Instagram, because people were just trying to get a tub of Scoops and Giggles just for them to post. And then we would repost every single one of them, and when the customers come and buy from us personally, we always remember them. We remember, how's your mom, when you come and buy and you tell us about, I got a new puppy, we will remember you next time and we'll ask how your puppy is, because people want to be involved in stuff, and people want to be remembered. So we have used that to help Scoops and Giggles grow.
Letting the customers sort of help push your brand as well. That's quite ingenious. I like that. I'm curious, within the country as well, now, would you say, you've mentioned obviously how the customers would come, purchase your product, they would then take pictures with it, and that in itself sort of snowballs and gets more people interested. Now, is Instagram one of the big sort of main forms of promotion within the country? Or would you say, for example, other like Facebook, or just using the radio, or just you handing out flyers? I'm just curious if you primarily focus on using social media, or do you actively go and put posters up, associate with the local sort of billboards and just get like your whole shop plastered all over the country?
No. So basically, before doing this, we even though we just started it in our kitchen, we did a bit of research, we looked at the stats to say social media and the entire umbrella in the past 10 years has grown, and it has been one of the biggest driving tools for businesses. Yes. And it would do them a disservice to not include any type of social media marketing within their promotional branding.
That's great, yeah.
So for us, we looked at those stats and looked at our product offering and did experiment with a couple of other social media platforms, and with the results, we saw that Instagram is one of our leading driving force. Okay. Followed by TikTok. Yeah. Facebook, not so much. I think also the type of demographic that we're targeting, the numbers kind of lead us towards Instagram. Okay. For other business, it's important for a business to know themselves and to understand what they're offering and who they're offering it to, and where the people spend most of their time. And they should go for that platform. For Scoops N Giggles, for Cheese Girl, for Chirpy, Instagram is that because, as Zandi mentioned earlier, we focus very much on aesthetics, and Instagram provides that platform for aesthetically pleasing content. Okay. So we want to promote our brand, but a taste good brand. We want you to almost like taste the ice cream through the picture, and Instagram does just for us in that light. So in the country, I think TikTok and Facebook are the most leading social media platforms. Okay. Instagram, yes, but with the struggle with data, it's kind of expensive to be in data. But depending on who you're targeting, like I said, you know, our older generation still believe in the newspaper, they still believe in radio, but the younger generation sort of has branched out of that, and they're more of social. They're on their cell phones all the time, and that and word of mouth. And believe it or not, WhatsApp marketing is also a big thing. Okay. Yeah. So almost doing broadcast, posting statuses on your WhatsApp all the time can get word of mouth moving quite faster. Okay. So I think, in this country, yes, that's where the leading forces are when it comes to promoting your brands. But for Scoops N Giggles, specifically TikTok and Instagram.
That's cool.
I think, being the top one, yes.
Obviously, the challenge of data, you've referred to that it's a bit more challenging for people to spend so much money on data, but they still obviously want to be online, so it's obviously that's quite a big push. Now, the traditional forms of you putting your brand on, like the newspaper, radio, did you consciously not do that because it's more of an expense to be able to do that? Or was it just basically because you've identified that your demographic is predominantly people using social media, so you'd focus more on that aspect as opposed to trying to get more of the sort of elder generations to get involved?
Yes, exactly that. If we would ever put our product on a newspaper, it would have to have a budget for it. Yeah, we'd have to have a budget for it. It would cost us, and the response would be very low. Yeah. And because at the end of the day, we want our customers to buy. Yes, the goal is for you to go and purchase.
Of course, yeah.
So I think unless you're a big market, you are able to put your products on a newspaper, because everyone wants to look for specials on newspapers and catalogs, and they'll definitely go into Spar and because they saw that advert on the newspaper. Yeah. Whereas our target audiences are on Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be a today, right?" So because we advertise on social media. So that's our focus. So
no, I love that. That's ingenious. Good strategy. I really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for that. Okay, let's just basically take our conversation in a sort of forward positive light. Now, you've mentioned obviously that one of your aims and ambitions is to take the product outside of the border. Is that what your next sort of, shall we say, 5 to 10 year plan is sort of going to be focused on? Do you plan to extend further within the country, open new sort of shops, new cafes, restaurants, that sort of stuff? Or are you going to sort of like more focus on the idea of introducing different types of products within, the sort of Scoops and Giggles sort of like little umbrella. I'm just wondering if you can share with us just your vision for like what's going to happen in the future.
10 years is too long.
Okay.
That's too far.
Oh, wow.
We're
Okay.
thinking of out the borders in the next few months.
Yeah, get in there. Respect. Yeah.
Next year is in a couple of weeks. So our strategy says we need to start expanding outside the country.
Okay.
Of course, once you scale, you need a bigger budget, and you need bigger investing. So short-term goal is definitely to see ourselves, even if it's just doing markets outside of the country.
Okay.
That's where we're trying to get to. And having our products in another country, of course, would mean either we produce in this country, because, of course, for you to export anything that has any food, you need certifications for that. Yeah. It can't just cross the border.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it would either need us to get certifications correct and then get our product out. Alternatively, we go and make our products in another country and sell it that side and get it that side. But we hope that one day we will have the funding to go out the country and make a big difference, because there are some people in South Africa who are asking for our products and want to taste it because they've seen it on social media and they've fallen in love with it on social media. So we really want to push that in the next coming months.
Yeah, in the next coming months. And we also want to expand and open our little branches everywhere, because becoming a household name has always been part of our big dream.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you're trying to obviously conquer like the whole of Southern Africa, which I wish you all the best. I have no doubt you're going to basically become a relatively well-known sort of brand within the countries. You mentioned obviously South Africa. Have you seen like a potential market within Mozambique, Lesotho, Botswana, even further afield, or is like, for example, conquering South Africa like the next big challenge for you with regards to taking your product out of the country?
While we were doing our course with Ingelo, we realized that different SADC countries have their different laws and restrictions, and different types have certifications that you must adhere to for different reasons. The closest that we can get to in terms of similarities with Eswatinians is South Africa.
Okay.
And with the currency also, it's the same currency, so the pricing can kind of stay the same without any losses and so on. And the stress of laws and all of that, currently Mozambique is going through its own turbulences.
Yes. So
it would be a bit risky for us to even think in that light to go to Mozambique. But it's those things that you look into when you do research, So
suppose you have to try and plan long term, Yeah,
so South Africa is our biggest goal right now, because I suppose, I think in the SADC it probably is one of the countries that the economy is doing kind of okay. And better than Eswatini, I would say. And you would get some kind of good return on investment if we had to have our products there. And it's not so far from us also. And we speak the same languages. So we're looking for a place that has the least amount of barriers to entry, It's just for the peace of mind, and because we don't have a big budget to go to all the countries.
Well, I suppose baby steps, as the expression is, you're slowly starting off and, conquer Eswatini first and then move on and take over South Africa. That's the plan, Look, that's great to hear. And like I said, I wish you all the best of luck with that. And I have no doubt you'll be able to get there. Look, I just wanted to take one step back, if you don't mind. The idea being, look, at the start of your journey, you've gone through so many different hurdles. You've gone through so many different challenges. You've had the benefit of like a lot of support from your family. Each other, I suppose, is quite a significant sort of help as well. What advice do you think you'd be able to give your younger selves with regards to this type of industry? Would you carry on with the same path you've done? Are there any lessons you've learned that you might sort of say, listen, by the way, Lee, Zandile, focus on this before you focus on that? I mean, are you able to share any of that with us?
I would say we're still learning.
Oh, great. Yeah. Humble. I like that. Yeah.
But I think for me, it would be my only regret is why did I not start sooner?
Okay, fair.
I think just taking out the element of fear.
Okay.
Starting something, because when you think of business, because we've been conditioned that you must go to school, you must get a good paying job, and just flow through life until you retire. And there's a lot of fear being put in starting a business. Okay. So I think the advice I'd give myself is just don't be afraid and just go for it. Just start. A lot of the time, I would say my biggest problem, and I think Zandi's been helping me with it, is that I'm an overthinker. I want something to be super perfect before I take it out to market.
Okay.
Whereas that, nope, we'll figure it out as we go. Just start, and then if it's a mess, we'll fix it. But as long as we've started. So that's how we also balance each other.
Okay.
In that I can be like, I've got an imposter syndrome, and I'm a procrastinator, and she's like, no. Let's go.
Well, I suppose that's why you need that sort of person to sort of poke you and say, hey, listen, come on, you can do this, but we need to get moving. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I think the advice I'd give my younger self and now is just don't be afraid and just start.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be advice.
Advice? Okay, wow, okay.
It's good to be nice and kind, but I think you must grow a sense of knowing when to say, no, this is how far I'm willing to take my kindness. Okay. Because that would help with boundaries. I think it's boundaries. You're right. Okay. So I think that would be an advice to my younger self, even now, to say you must know to have boundaries. And because we just said we must just start, but it helps to start right. Okay. We did do our research, but I think we were lacking in when we registered our business, we didn't copyright and we didn't trademark and we didn't,
right, okay.
We had a little bit of, issues along the way, but issues that we could have avoided if we did that. But I think that has to do with not really taking ourselves too seriously in the sense that, because we thought it's just ice cream, and it turned out to be bigger than it's just
ice cream. Yeah.
So I think that would be the advice, to just be confident and have boundaries and start right. Okay. Be more prepared.
No, that's great. So taking on what you said, the idea of just start right, figuring out what your boundaries are, how comfortable you are, sort of pushing yourselves and inspiring yourselves. Now, you mentioned something quite interesting just now about the idea of being able to copyright your specific product, your thought patterns and all that sort of stuff. Now, would you say that the journey you've had, would you describe your journey as sort of like a blueprint for others to follow in the region? Can you label who told you that? Who what sort of company or body was implemented in the country to sort of say, right, you need to start thinking about doing X, Y, and Z with your product? I mean, I was hoping you could sort of give us and our entrepreneurs a sort of rough idea of what they can what sort of steps they might be able to take to sort of get into the industry as well, even if it's not related to ice creams by any chance.
Okay, so unfortunately in this country, we still struggle with trademark and all of that stuff. We're not as protected.
And stuff like that.
We're not as protected as, for example, South Africa markets would be, or entrepreneurs would be.
Is that because people aren't taking it seriously within the government bodies or whatever organizations, or is it just that's something that they have to catch up on?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it's and unfortunately also, I think the Department of Commerce, they really are trying their best to support SMEs. They really are, especially in the past 3-4 years, I've seen a difference. Okay, that's great. But the issue is also we don't have access to a lot of this information. Right. So who's teaching us? Lessons. We are learning the hard way.
Learning from our mistakes.
I mean, I was hoping you could sort of give us and our entrepreneurs a sort of rough idea of what they can what sort of steps they might be able to take to sort of get into the industry as well.
Okay, so unfortunately in this country, we still struggle with trademark and all of that stuff. We're not as protected.
And stuff like that.
We're not as protected as, for example, South Africa markets would be, or entrepreneurs would be.
Is that because the people aren't taking it seriously within the government bodies or whatever organizations, or is it just that's something that they have to catch up on?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, and unfortunately also, I think Department of Commerce, they really are trying their best to support SMEs. They really are, especially in the past 3-4 years, I've seen a difference.
Okay, that's great.
But the issue is also we don't have access to a lot of this information.
Right.
So who's teaching us lessons? We are learning the hard way.
Learning from our mistakes.
No one is coming to us and saying, you must do ABC. A lot of it is you plug and play and you realize halfway, oh, oopsie, I should have done that. And then you have to go back to the drawing board and actually fix your mistakes. In terms of trademark and so on, they're not so big on that. That's why earlier on I emphasized on making sure that our brand is on point, so that even if you have our recipes, you somehow steal them out of our safe. Yeah. You can make the same ice cream, but you won't be asked. Yes, you won't be asked. We've tried to resonate to our specific customer and in the way we brand ourselves. So I would strongly suggest future entrepreneurs, those who want to go into business, especially cold treats and so on. There isn't a specific blueprint that we've come up with ourselves. Or maybe we do through experiences, but you need to spend money on research. Right. You need to be able to take your time and research, because no one's just going to have information readily available for you. If you want to be a business person, you have to be resilient and you have to take the punches and the hard knocks, and you must go with it. You have to pick yourself up and just keep on going. Okay. And in terms of intellectual property, we've always said people can copy us and copy what we do, but you'll have to wait for us to act to be able to copy again. So you will just be waiting on us, and is that really fun? You have to wait for us to do something, to release something for you to be able to take it and reuse it for yourself. I mean, it's okay to copy. We have inspirations,
of course,
but we don't copy and paste exactly. We will get inspired. We'll take it. We'll make it our own. We'll alter, take out whatever we need to take out, and make it fit for our current market, our brand, our demographic, because we've done our research and we know who our customers are. We know what they like. We know what they're expecting. And so that's basically our blueprint. And we're still collecting data. We have new customers all the time, and people keep giving us new feedback. People keep recommending other stuff. For example, like Zandile mentioned with the pistachio, people kept asking for a peanut type of a nut type of ice cream. And now people are really looking into, because we have a coffee flavor, but people are really interested in this coffee ice cream. So we do have a coffee flavor, but people want something stronger, like a stronger kind of coffee. So we're listening to these customer feedbacks, and we are implementing them. Of course, we can't implement everything. But that's our blueprint. We're still producing it. Our value chain. We're still writing it down, and we still documenting the processes.
No, listen, that sings a lot to know the humble attitude that you've both employed in the business, and I've got no doubt that the legacy that you've both sort of established will resonate and basically make itself known in the country and even wider regions. Look, like I said, one of the main themes and focuses of our podcast is trying to give, obviously, practical advice. You've alluded to quite a lot of stuff, with regards to the type of people you need to interact with, the type of organizations you've been involved with, where to get your certification and all that sort of stuff. You mentioned earlier about the idea of, look, just start. What came to my mind is, I think, in as much as obviously one of the major hurdles that a lot of new starters have is finances. Can you just give us, apart from the dealing with the financial sort of aspect, can you give our listeners any sort of other practical advice with regards to how to just start? I mean, it's easy to say just start, just go and do that, but can you give us a bit more practical steps with regards to how do we just start? Related more to your industry, not necessarily the wider concept of just starting anything. Are you able to give us any advice on that?
I think once you get the idea, yeah, because every business is born from someone's idea.
Okay.
So once you get the idea, I think it's a good thing to write it down.
Okay.
And just answer questions in your mind, like, okay, so I want to start this business. Maybe let's just say I want to start making ice cream, for example.
Yep.
Why are you in the business? You have to know and answer the question. What makes you different from the businesses or the brands that are already existing in the market?
Okay.
Are you going to be doing something different, and who is it for?
Okay. Great.
And how do you describe it in a sense that it's different from the other brands that are already existing?
Okay.
And what does it look like? What does it look like? Does it look the same as the others? Is it providing something different? And what do you offer? And what is the impact that it's going to have on your customers, on your target market, on your target customers? And then once you have like general answers to those questions, then you visit the Ministry of Commerce.
Ministry of Commerce, thank you.
Yeah, the Ministry of Commerce, and talk to them about. Listen, I want to start this business. How are you guys going to help me?
Okay.
And then they'll explain to you that you first need to register your business, because then you choose a name for your business, and then you have to register it as a whatever company or investment, and they will give you information on that. And they'll also give you information on the copywriting that you need, because we didn't start like that.
Yeah.
We only found out along the way. But I think it's very important. And then after that, you go to the bank, you apply for an account for your business, because that is going to help you. Yeah, it's going to help you not to mix your personal finances with the business money.
Yes.
Because if you're selling ice cream for 15 rand, and now you think you're 15 rand richer. Yeah. when no,
it's for the business. Yeah.
But that's going to help you to know if your business is really it's doing well or not. Okay. And then look for a market. Look for a farmer's market. Talk to the people. That's where we were able to get the most of our customer base and marketing research, really, because we were talking one-on-one with the people at the markets. How do you want this ice cream? Do you think it's too sweet? What do you feel about it? The packaging. Just ask them, converse with your customers, and then take that information and see how it can work for your business. Yeah, and then you can make pamphlets and start advertising, or after opening your social media accounts, and start advertising, and you can then take it from there. Okay,
that's great. I was just thinking, would you say it helps if our audience has any sort of business knowledge, for example? Would you because you've both had the benefit of obviously going and getting degrees and, general knowledge in like certain types of the basic knowledge about like business, marketing, that sort of stuff. Would it help our entrepreneurs to also do that sort of stuff, to get like a bit of background knowledge before they actually try and go through the process of speaking to the Minister of Commerce, establishing a bank account in the business's name? Or would you just say, look, guys, you don't necessarily need to worry too much about the idea of being business-minded. Not necessarily business-minded, but business-educated, quote unquote, and just basically just get cracking. I don't know if you can give us an idea of that.
If you take your business seriously, you always want to improve on it.
Fair.
So especially if you want your business to be global or represent some kind of a global stature.
Okay.
So that needs you to constantly improve your craft.
Okay.
And that's not just product, but your knowledge also. We're currently doing a course via the it's called AWI, African Women in Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
It's through the American Embassy. And it's basically an incubator crash course on entrepreneurial skills, especially for SMEs. and it is really equipping us with a lot of knowledge that we kind of knew in passing, but not the depth.
Yeah, not the depth
of it. There are so many short courses online. So
free
many.
Course also.
It's also a free course. Yes. There are a lot of
Okay, that's great. Good to hear. Yeah.
Yes. You just have to apply, then you get chosen for it. But there's so many other free courses that a lot of institutions do. You know, I know,
like the ITC International Trade Center.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, they also do courses. These really help you and your business grow, because you don't want to just stay in one position forever.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
There'll always be competition. There'll always be uncontrollable issues in the political space or economic space. You need to always be ready and prepared for it. And you can't just say, I'm going to wake up and make ice cream and expect and hope for the best. No, you have to be ready. And these things need you to, equip yourself with a lot of information. You don't have to pay thousands and thousands for courses. There are free online courses that you can go. If you can spend time on social media, you can spend time looking. Even on YouTube. I call it University of YouTube.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. No, listen, that's some practical, great advice, and I hopefully our listeners will be able to take a lot of what you said and apply it to themselves. And wow, I mean, I just have to say, the journey you two seem to have gone on is actually really inspiring, especially like for a small country like Eswatini. Look, in closing, I just wanted to ask you now. You've gone through quite a bit of a journey. You've dealt with lots of challenges. You've gone to lots of different locations. You've interacted with so many different people, and been in crazy moments. I'm wondering, do you have a particular memorable moment that was you found, oh my goodness, that was quite unexpected or surprising? Has there been anything a customer said to you that sort of resonated and sort of stuck with you in this journey that you've both gone on so far?
I think for me, I mean, we have different experiences
all the
time. Sometimes together, sometimes separately. Yeah. But I think for me, the first confidence booster was when we were at Bushfire.
Okay.
Yes, it was at Bushfire. We got through the ICT program.
Okay.
And
that's the International Trade Center program, is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So kind of like put right at the back of the field at Bushfire, in a small little booth,
Okay.
And we just let's make it work. Oh my goodness! I think the queue that was there, it surpassed all the other booths.
Yeah.
It went all the way back
to the campus side.
That's great.
And we literally sold out, and we had someone cry.
Yeah, a grown lady was crying to her husband. But that was
because she didn't have her own chance to have some ice cream. Is that right?
Because we were sold out, and she was crying because she was waiting for apparently an hour in the line, and only a couple of people before her the ice cream finished.
Oh, got it.
So I think that's the first confidence booster, and the other one that still shocks me today is people who have traveled internationally say that the ice cream there, Scoops N Giggles, is one of the best.
Yes.
Even better than ice cream that they've had in Italy.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that's a massive commendation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that for us has always been a mind-blowing, surprising element to say, okay, we're not doing so bad. So I don't know about Zandi.
Yeah, we also get a lot of comments about people saying that the ice cream really reminds them of it sort of holds something like childhood memories.
That's beautiful to hear, actually.
Oh, my grandmother used to take me to this ice cream shop. It's just very, very rewarding to hear people speak so fondly about our ice cream.
Yeah.
And when people compliment us, we try to get. There was a time where we were very busy, and we tried to get temporal people to help us so we can have stalls in different events.
Yes.
And we would hear people saying, "Why were you guys not there? We wanted you." So that also because people think, okay, we are part of the package, the brand, and
No, listen, I think in as much as obviously, a lot of customers obviously appreciate your product, I have to give a massive shout out to both of you. You know, I think just listening and just being engaged in the conversation as we have been today, I can feel the warmth, I can feel the sort of energy and the liveliness that you both bring to it. So I think a lot of people resonate with you as individuals as well as with the product. So, I do definitely wish you all the best. No, you've both done brilliant. The next time I'm home, I'm definitely going to be one of your main customers. So yeah, just expect, please reserve a certain booth for me if you don't mind.
I'll have you pistachio.
Oh, thank you for that. Not just pistachio. I'm just going to go through all your flavors. I won't leave, basically. Look, that being said, are you able to give our customers a rough idea of how they can continue to support your business, where we can find you on socials, and well as physically where you're based, if you can just give us that last word?
So we are on Instagram, firstly. Our handle is scoops.n.giggles.
Okay.
But I think once you type in Scoops I'm sure our name will start popping up in the thumbnails. So it's scoops.n.giggles. And we also, I don't know if you can give us our cell phone number if you want to make orders.
If you want to make orders, because...
Yeah, please. Well, what I'll do is if you can give it to me, and I'll just basically include it in the show notes, and then that way if customers do want to get in touch with you via cell phone, they'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. No, that's fine. And then in terms of events, we on our social media we do post which event we'll be attending. That weekend or whenever the event is, and we constantly keep posting until the event comes. Okay. So social media is best where you can find us.
Okay.
And how to support. Spend that money on us.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. No, listen, ladies, thank you very much for being in the show. I really appreciate that. Yeah, your journey is one that I will definitely make my best to sing to everybody, because you've taken a well-loved product, you've gone through some significant hurdles and challenges yourselves, and you've come out on top. And the fact is, you've set a sort of precedent for a lot of people to sort of compare themselves to and say, look, if these two ladies can do it from the back of their house, we can do it as well. And that's obviously the aim of what we're trying to achieve here. And I just want to say, Zandile, thank you very much for your time. And listen, I wish you all the best, and I will definitely get back to you and let you know when I'm in the country so I can come and visit and say hello to you too. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
My pleasure. Wow, that was quite a fascinating conversation we had. I mean, who knew setting up a homemade ice cream stand could be quite challenging? I'm glad our founders made that look so easy. I think throughout the whole conversation, the one thing that struck me the most about Lee and Zandile was the humble attitude that they seem to have. They acknowledge that, in as much as they're not perfect individuals, they are hungry enough to constantly be pursuing means and ways of improving themselves. Not necessarily just the brand, but it's the mindset that I think I loved hearing the most about, how they're always trying to work and better themselves. By becoming involved with organizations like Ingelo or Swazi, they're able to learn new skills that they can take to their business and apply to their strategies to improve. By them having the foresight and the understanding that a business requires certification and paperwork, getting involved and getting information with the Ministry of Commerce is just one step in a long step of ensuring that your product can make it from the kitchen to the market. The idea that by them getting feedback from their customers, engaging with their customers, they're building that customer base, they're building that reputation that will come back and reward them because of the positivity and the energy that they put into it. And you can tell just from the way that they interact with one another, that their relationship that they've been able to form with themselves and the support that they've been fortunate enough to have from their friends and family implies that it is quite important for you to make sure that your support base is well established for you to be able to be comfortable to take whatever hits or bad luck might come your way, roll with and grow. I hope the lessons that they've been able to impart have had an impact on your lives, ladies and gents. I think that the more we acknowledge that we are individuals and we do make mistakes is something that we won't necessarily see as a negative, but as an opportunity for us to improve and get better. But we have to take a step. We have to take that initiative to get moving. And remember, what you give, the positivity, the personality, the attitude you impart, that will resonate with other people, that will draw other people to you, and by extension, that will ensure your success. The why is important in as much as the first step is important. So, get up, sort it out, and as soon as you make it, give us a shout so you can tell us exactly how you've done it so you can inspire somebody else. Ladies and gents, thanks for joining us on Grassroots to Gains, a Southern Hustle. I'll see you next time. Take care.